All right, so this is your little introduction video to solving quadratics. Okay, this is not the whole entire quadratic unit. This is just this section focused on solving quadratics. So the breakdown of it is this section is going to take about 8 class periods, and starting with day 1, we're going to focus on characteristics and transformations of quadratic functions and see how they relate to absolute value functions, which we've covered before. Then we're going to jump into actually graphing a quadratic and identifying the characteristics as we did in day 1, and how to solve by graphing and what that actually means. Day 3 and day 4 are very similar. We're going to solve a quadratic by factoring. The first day, day 3, is going to be when a equals 1, and day 4 is going to be when a is greater than 1. Now, day 3 and 4 go back to our diamond problems. Okay, we're just going to add one extra step on to the factored form. Okay, day 5, we're going to introduce the quadratic formula, and I'm going to show you guys a little song that goes along with it. On day 6, you're going to do an activity which is called the Parabola Selfie Project. You're going to use some technology in that and kind of demonstrate your understanding of what this is doing, what your quadratics are doing. Day 7 is your review, and then day 8 will be your quiz. And then we will move on to the next section of the quadratic unit, the big unit. All right, so like I said, some connections to prior knowledge. The big one is factoring quadratics with diamond problems. So as a refresher, this is what your diamond problem looks like. Your A times C goes on the top and your B goes on the bottom, and you need two numbers on the sides that add to your AC and that multiply to your top and add to your bottom. Okay, multiply to your top, add to your bottom. Okay, and then the other thing is transformations of absolute value functions and like how I said on the last slide, how those relate to your quadratic functions. All right, what this sets you up for. Okay, it sets us up to solve quadratics with other methods, such as completing the square and square roots, which we'll get to in the next section of this unit after you take this quiz. It also introduces irrational solutions, and although we're not going to explicitly deal with irrational solutions in Algebra 1, they will be coming back in geometry next year, so I just want to make sure you guys see them and you're not surprised by them next year. It also allows us to take this information and apply it to real-world scenarios and word problems, which again will be coming in the next section of this unit. So some essential questions for this unit are what vocabulary words do I use to discuss the characteristics of a parabola, and how those vocabulary words relate to the characteristics that we talked about in absolute value. How do you determine the number of solutions a quadratic has, and what exactly that means? The best case to use factoring to solve a quadratic, the best case to use the quadratic formula to solve it, and the best case to use graphing. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of essential skills that you guys will be able to get from this section of the unit. I'm not going to go ahead and read them all because there are a lot there, but we will be identifying the ones that we are working on each day. So just keep in mind that there are a lot of skills that you will be able to do on your own, and you should be able to do all 11 of these by the time you take your quiz. All right, so some technologies that we're going to use in this unit: Padlet, which we've used before, Google Classroom and Google Forms, which we use all year, Otis to do some of your assessments, which we've used here and there, Desmos, which we use often, and Delta Math, which we also use often. So there shouldn't be a whole lot of surprises as far as the technologies that we use. But as always, if you guys have questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them, and I look forward to this section of the unit.